Please state your name for the record.
Jackson Clovis Hunter. My friends call me Jack, or Jackie or Jacko.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hunter?
I don't know if you can tell. I work in fashion. I have a column at The Voice right now called "You Are What You Wear," sort of a what not to wear piece. But I'm actually moving back to Sydney this coming month to work with GQ magazine over there. Got a good promising offer.
Have you ever worked at Rock the World Amusement Park?
I worked there, yeah, a couple of years ago. Really not one of my favourite jobs, but I had to pay for, a green card and everything. So I worked for 3 years and about a week.
What job did you have at the park?
Really anything they needed. I mean, when I started, I was cleaning up people's vomit and whatever they needed me for. And eventually, by the 3rd year, I was like a float and ride operator, sort of. So just whatever they needed.
What does it mean to be a floating ride operator?
You just float, you take over for people. If somebody over here doesn't, they're called in sick or they're whatever, you take over for them, check the wristbands on the customers, start and stop, Just a chance to get close to people.
I want to talk more about the ride controls at Rock the World. Can you explain to the jury how the controls on the rides work?
I can, yeah. What do you want to know about?
Well, Mr. Hunter, generally when you'd switch from ride to ride, were the ride controls different?
Yeah, well, that's why I'm saying that. I mean, honestly, this was somewhat confusing for a float and ride operator because every single ride, depending on what year it's made or whatever, where it's shipped from, it'll have a different sort of control panel. So it just depends what kind of ride it is, what you're going to be looking at.
Would you recognize a picture of the control panel of a ride called the Mind Eraser if I showed it to you?
Yeah, I'll work that out a few times.
Approach opposing counsel. May I approach with you?
Yes.
Mr. Hunter, what did I just hand you?
Scan of the Mind Eraser control panel.
Does it appear to be accurate?
Yeah, all the way down to the graffiti.
Does it appear to have been changed at all since the last time you saw it at Rock the World?
No, it looks good.
Your Honor, at this point, I move Defense Exhibit 1 into evidence.
Any objection?
We have no objections, Your Honor.
Okay, so admitted.
Mr. Hunter, do you know who normally worked this ride, the Mind Eraser?
Miss Bowman, that was her ride.
And are you familiar with the ride called the Tunnel of Terror?
Yeah, that's another one. I worked that a couple of times on some slow days.
If I showed you pictures of the Mind Eraser control panel and the Tunnel of Terror control panel, could you explain how the rides worked better?
I hope so, yeah, I can tell you.
Your Honor, permission to approach and retrieve evidence
Sure.
and publish a larger copy for the jury?
Sure. Go right ahead.
And permission for this witness to step down to make use of the documents. All right, Mr. Hunter, let's start with the one on the right. Can you explain how this panel works?
We're talking about this one? Yeah. All right, this is the Mind Eraser. Bear in mind this is a roller coaster. So really one of the more complicated controls you have here. 6 different buttons, I'd say. Yeah, more or less 7 maybe. All different colours, and yeah, I honestly never really understood what half of these things do.
What about the Tunnel of Terror control panel? How does that work?
This one over here, very different as you can see between these two. This is just 2 buttons and a lever. Just start, stop. Obviously, this would be made by a different company.
Where is the emergency stop button located on the Mind Eraser, Whit Bowman's normal ride?
Now, yeah, well, we have to pay attention. It's not the big red button, but the one below it. The other big red button that says stop on the bottom right.
And what ride control is located in the bottom right of the Tunnel of Terror control panel?
That's this lever here, the blackout lever. Honestly, they do completely different things, but as a float and ride operator, really have to keep them separate.
Thank you, Mr. Hunter. Please return to your seat. Mr. Hunter, I want to switch gears and talk about some of the employees at Rock the World. Were you familiar with Mr. J.C. Longstreet?
Yeah, he's the owner of the park. I think he's still
What about Miss Haley Floyd? Did you know her?
Yeah, Haley and I were, I guess you could say we were friends. She was my real supervisor, gave me all my assignments when I came in. I think her official title is accountant, but I knew her as my personal supervisor. I'd give her fashion advice when necessary.
You said you checked wristbands as a ride operator. Do you know when the park started using wristbands?
That was Haley's thing, actually. When she came in 2010, we started doing that.
Mr. Hunter, would you recognize a copy of the wristbands used at Rock World if I showed them to you?
Sure.
Approaching opposing counsel with Defense Exhibit B. Permission to approach the witness. Mr. Hunter, what did I just hand you?
Laser scans of 3 types of wristbands.
Do they appear to be accurate scans of the wristbands used at Rock World?
Yes, I've seen all 3 of these at some point.
Do they appear to be altered in any way?
No.
Your Honor, at this point I move Defense Exhibit B into evidence.
No objection to the wristbands, Your Honor.
Okay,
Your Honor, permission to approach the witness, retrieve evidence, and publish to the jury.
sure. You may publish.
Now, Mr. Hunter, if I showed you a blown-up copy of these wristbands, could you tell us more about them?
I could, yeah.
Permission for the witness to step down.
You all got it here?
Yes, Mr. Hunter. Using these pictures, can you explain the wristbands used at the park?
Yeah, so this is, instead of having tickets, we have these sorts of wristbands. General admission, world tour. This one was a little less expensive than this one. I couldn't really tell you the prices, but they switch out the colours every day for consistency. This banana yellow one here would maybe be green the next day, red the next day, whatever. They keep it consistent. And then you've got the serial numbers on them to track the sales. And then this bottom one here is also labeled World Tour, but it doesn't have the serial number on it.
I apologize, Mr. Hunter. Did you notice any inconsistencies with the wristband system used at Rock the World in 2012?
You know, I did see some that didn't have the serial numbers on them. I guess that's an inconsistency.
Where did you see these unnumbered wristbands?
In Haley's office.
Had you ever seen these unnumbered faded wristbands before?
You know, as early as a couple of years before then, maybe 2010, I was seeing some that didn't have the numbers on.
Do any of the wristbands on this picture look like the wristbands you saw in Haley Floyd's office in 2010?
Yeah, so if it's going to be the lemon chiffon day, it would be this one here without the serial number on it.
I want to make something clear, Mr. Hunter. Was Whit Bowman working at the park in 2010?
No, Miss Bowman came the next year in 2011.
Thank you, Mr. Hunter. Please return to your seat. When you were in Haley Floyd's office in 2012, did you notice anything else unusual?
Well, I saw some books, some accounting books. There were 2 on the desk, both labelled 2012. Honestly, wasn't my business. Didn't want a big snoop and looking through them, but I just noticed that she had 2 books.
Did you see any of the figures inside the books?
I couldn't tell you. I mean, I flipped through them briefly. Honestly, I was just there looking for my assignment. Didn't want to snoop. I saw some spreadsheets, some dollar values, whatever. But actually, Haley walked in and fried my goose for me right there, so I didn't get much of a chance.
I'm sorry, Mr. Hunter. What exactly did Haley Floyd do when she came in?
She fired me. That's what I'm saying. She came in yelling at me, said, "What are you doing here?" Whatever. So I let it be. I mean, I tried to explain that I was just there looking for my assignments. She wouldn't hear it, and so that was over.
Just one more question, Mr. Hunter. Can you tell us if a robbery happened at Rock the World on August 30th?
No.
Nothing further, Your Honor.